I recently had someone leave a comment asking if I can do a tutorial on working with templates in Studio One, so that's what we're going to take a look at in this video. Now, when we come to the Create a New Song in the upper left-hand corner here, I'll click once. We have this New Song dialog, and we can see in the upper left-hand corner we have several tabs, one for Styles, Interfaces, and User. And the User is where all of the templates that we create are going to be stored. Now, the first one here, we have Styles, and these are going to be templates that are put together by Presonus and will help you get started more quickly in different types of setups. So you can see at the top we have band recording. Below it, you can see a brief description, 16-track band recording. In the information pane in the bottom right-hand corner, it's going to display the description as well. So let's actually load this instrument set. It loads a set of Studio One instruments ready to play. I'm going to set my sample rate to 48. Let's click OK. Once this loads, our console is open. I'll close that as well as the browser. And you can see here that we have 4 tracks that have been created. I'm going to Shift E to expand those out. Now you can see we have Mojito, Impact, Grand Piano, and Sample 1. If I click to open that up, then we can see each one, and the Impact actually does have a kit that's loaded. The next we have the Grand Piano, which is in Presence XT, and then we have a Sample 1, and there's actually a sample loaded into this. So this is just going to help you get started more quickly if this is a certain setup that you'd like to use to begin creating. Also, if we close this out and come back to the mix console, we can see that on the channels we do have a compressor and Pro EQ loaded up already. Also on the master channel as well, we have some items loaded there. But I'm going to Control W to close out this song. No, I don't want to save. Let's come back to create a new song and take a quick look at one more. What about the rock band here? Rock band recording session. I'll click OK. I forgot to change my sample rate, but you can see the mix console is open. There's a variety of different effects and dynamics that have been applied. Let's actually close some of these out, these side panels. But you can see we have channels for our drum. So if you're recording, miking your drums, we've got kick, snare, tom, low, tom, mid, and so on. And these are actually even routed to a bus here. And we've got a drum effects channel, something for vocals, guitar, lead guitar, and so on. And we can see the tracks in the arrange view here. So this will save you a lot of time getting set up if that's the sort of situation you're going to be working with. I'll Control W again to close out. And let's then come to the center one here, the interfaces. And these are going to be set up, the ins and outs, the routing for the particular interface that you're working for if it's by Presonus. So at the very top here, you can see we have an audio box 1818. We've got audio box USB. And again, we have our description down below when you select, all the way through to the Quantum series and the Studio Live series. And I'm not going to go into these, but just know that if you're working with an interface and you'd like to have the routing set up for you, then you can choose one of these, and the ins and outs will be active for that particular device. Okay, now lastly, we have the user, and this is what most of us will be probably wanting to work with. We have empty song. This is the only thing that's going to be in here to begin with. And that empty song is actually at the top of all of these. So you can access that from any of the tabs. But say we'd like to set it up a template how we would like to use for our normal work flow. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the empty song selected. Our sample rate's at 48. So I'm going to click OK. Now, I don't typically use templates, but there are some devices that I tend to use more frequently. So let's come to the Presonus folder, and I use Impact quite a bit. So this would be something that I would load into my template. I'm not going to choose a kit, but let's just say I know that these bottom pads I want to have routed on separate mono channels. So I'll click on this here, and I'm going to route that to mono 1. Now this second pad I'm going to route to mono 2. This I'm going to send to mono 3 and mono 4. And we'll close that out. I'm not going to choose a kit because I have no idea what sort of mood I'm going to be in for the track, what sort of vibe I'm going to be going for. So we'll close that out. Now, what else? My tie, I work with this at times. And let's just go ahead and choose a lead here. So we've got that added. And what about a third party? I'm going to come to the UVI workstation, drag that in, and let's actually load a preset in here. I'll choose that Mayfield flute, close that out, and then let's open up our mix console. Now here you can see we have our Impact Stereo 1 out, then we have the 4 mono channels that I created. So I'm going to select this first one, then hold Shift and select through to the last mono output, right click, and I'm going to add a bus for those channels. And then I'm going to come down below and call this drums bus. And let's see, I'll come to the plus here and let's put a third party VST on here. So the Klanghelm, I'm going to choose this compressor here. So this compressor is loaded on our drums bus and is going to be applied to all of these channels because they are routed here. And then for the master channel, let's put an EQ on here, the Pro EQ. There you are. Let's close that out. So this is going to be my template. I'm going to Shift E. Okay. So now at this point, we'll come to File in the upper left-hand corner. And then we want to Save as Template. And then at the very top, we can click. I'm just going to call this Quanta Template. We can put a description in here, and that's going to show up in that just below the template name in the left panel, that if you remember, and then also in that information pane. So this is my first template. We can even choose an icon or image to represent the template. So when we click on this ellipsis here, I'm going to come to my desktop, the Quanta folder, web promotion. Here's my little logo. I'll open that up and we can see that that's now been attached to our template. So I'm going to click OK. And our template has been created with everything that we've set up here. So at this point, I'm going to Control W to close out this song. And no, I don't want to save it because when we save as a template, that's something completely different than saving our song. So I'm going to choose No. And at this point, when I come to create a new song, we can see under User, here is our Quanta template that we created. And this is that description that I typed in and showing here as well. So let's click OK and open that guy up. And you can see here we have the impact that I added. And if I open that up, you can see our routing settings have been retained here. So we've got mono 1, mono 2, 3, and 4. It has saved those settings. We've got our My Tie. It has the lead that I chose. We've got our UVI workstation, and it has the Mayfield flute that I chose. So this is really detailed down to preset level and settings within these VSTs when you're setting up these templates. So it gives you a lot of flexibility and can save you a lot of time if there's particular settings that you use on a regular basis. Now, if we come to the mix console, we can see that our drums bus is here. The name that I put in is still there. We can see also here these dashes represent the channels that have been sent to it. If I click here, we can see our stereo 1 and the mono 1 through 4 from the impact. And we have our third party device still on that channel. And if we had some setting that we put in, then that should be retained as well. Finally, we have the Pro EQ on our master channel that we set up. So this is how you can go about creating presets within Studio One. And if you have presets that you're creating and then you find you no longer want to work with one of them and you don't need it anymore, the way that you would get rid of that, let's come back to the start page and then create a new song. Then what we would do, if I select this and then right click, choose Show and Explore, this is going to open up the Explorer or the Finder on the Mac. And then we can see this is our Quanta template that we created. If you look at the file path, you can see desktop, here's my Quanta folder, Studio One, within Studio One, templates, version 4. So what we would do is just select these. I'm going to press delete on the QWERTY keyboard, close that window out, let's cancel, come back to create a new song, and then we can see that that template I just created is now gone. Okay, so that's working with templates in Studio One. Thanks for watching.